Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful day here in Westerville, Ohio. Today, Sunday, September 27th, 2015. So we are keeping our eyes on the tropics today, as there are not many storms locally or really in the U.S. at all today. However, we are later today supposed to get a few sprinkles in here, and then later this week, possibly some fall thunderstorms, as it is now fall. So we are keeping an eye on multiple storms, 8 storms to be exact, 2 of them in the Eastern Pacific, 3 of them in the Atlantic, and a couple more all the way around, even 1 in the Central Pacific, 1 in the Southern Indian Ocean, and the last one, a strong typhoon in the Western Pacific. So we will be keeping an eye on all 8 of these. So let's start from the prime meridian and then go to 180, and then we'll go 180 back to the prime meridian. So starting from prime meridian, it looks like our first storm we get to talk about is Tropical Depression Ida. Ida is currently a tropical depression. As I said earlier, it was a tropical storm and was expected to dissipate by this time. However, it has hung on and will hang on until about Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, possibly even later than Tuesday. But we will be keeping an eye on that. However, it is north of any land, so we'll be fine there. As we travel farther to the west, we can see Invest 98L, I'm pretty sure. Yes, Invest 98L. That has a 50% chance of formation in the next 48 hours and 50% chance in the next 5 days. That is somewhere in between, about midway in between the Turks and Caicos Islands and the Bahamas. So we will be keeping an eye on that as it moves towards the U.S. East Coast, about North Carolina area. Also, Invest 99L is currently over the northern Yucatan, heading towards northern Florida in the Gulf area. So we will be keeping an eye on the Gulf, as this storm could develop 30% in the next 48 hours and 30% in the next 5 days. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as we move to the Eastern Pacific now. We have Tropical Storm Marty. Marty has prompted tropical storm watches for about 18 degrees north on the Mexican coast. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. That could strengthen into a hurricane. No landfall is expected, as it should weaken as it nears the coast and then turn and miss the coast. So that's the current prediction, but we will be keeping an eye on that as time goes on. Now, area of interest. There is an area of interest in the Eastern Pacific, and that has a 10% chance of formation in the next 5 days, and 10% and 40% in the next 10% in the next 48 hours, and 40% in the next 5 days. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. It's about in the middle of the Eastern Pacific and is heading towards where Marty is now. So I have no clue why it's moving to the wrong way, but it is. So Central Pacific. Nearing the Big Island is Tropical Storm Nyla. That should stay to the south of the Big Island. However, Tropical Storm watches are in effect, and we will be keeping an eye on that. That should stay to the south and then dissipate by early Tuesday morning. So we will be keeping an eye on that. Western Pacific has a very strong Category 4 typhoon, Duwan, I don't know, heading towards Taiwan. Typhoon warning would be my guess. That's in effect for Taiwan right now. So keeping an eye on that. That could be Category 3 when it makes landfall, maybe a little bit weaker and stronger. But we will be keeping an eye on that. It should be towards the northern area of Taiwan, make a second landfall as a weaker typhoon, and possibly a tropical storm in China. So we will be keeping an eye as it hits the Chinese coast, somewhere between Hong Kong and Shanghai, about halfway in between. So right there in that general area of Taiwan. Anyway, it's somewhere in that general area of Taiwan. South of India, in the southern Indian Ocean, we are watching, when I say south of India, I mean south of the southern tip of India, if that makes sense. We are keeping an eye on a system that is currently an area of interest, has a low chance of formation. Nothing is really expected there. So that's all we got for today. Hopefully no more shows up. However, if we do get some severe storms, I'm down for that too. So